Hello and welcome for our third match of Vintage with Knight's Whisper Control Slaver. Last round we very narrowly defeated Rich Shea, in the creator of the deck. I assume in part he mentioned several friends in his tournament report, but certainly one of the progenitors of the deck in a really fun mirror. And now we are on the draw against an unknown opponent with a pretty slow but very powerful hand. It doesn't have any acceleration. It has, perfect mana. I think we're going to keep this and rely on Mystical Tutor to keep us alive on turn 3 and hope that we don't die on turns 1 or 2. So we draw a very good one early, and the Tropical Island doesn't tell us much. It could be Gush, but I know of bug decks that play Wasteland, right? Bugfish. And so I would rather play a fetch land. So our opponent brainstorms, presumably looking for some help with their Ancestral. I don't imagine that they are short a blue source. I think that misstepping it here would be incredibly greedy. And so we're going to get a red source to go with our Underground Sea in hand. We're going to get our own Ancestral Recall, and we're going to let this Delver resolve since we have fire in our hand. We're going to recall ourselves on our main phase. It resolves, oddly enough. I think we're going to end up discarding a Knight's Whisper and just playing a very slow, very grindy game. They almost certainly misclicked through that, but forgive them, Magic Online is a confusing interface at best. So we are going to wait for their upkeep. Well, I suppose we're going to misstep this now. Ooh, man, I forgot to draw with Library first. That was really bad. Okay, so we take our beatings, and now we're back into the draw main cycle of librarying. Baleful Strix, the anti-Delver card of basically any format that has both cards legal in it. It's just impossible to get value from Delver through a Baleful Strix. So do we block or do we tinker? I don't think we were willing to trade an artifact for a Delver. I'm also not amped about firing a single Delver. Although now we can scroll for ice, so... Actually, nope, cancel that one. We just drew Battle Sphere, so we can scroll for Brainstorm. Put back Battle Sphere and a land. Get a C play at top and still have 7 in hand with probably Strix just in reserve. I think I would trade it for 3 damage, but not 1. Vendilion click. Okay, well, this one takes our fire if it sticks. So I think we're just going to force this one pitching Thirst for Knowledge. Our opponent just drawing straight non-spells, which is obviously great for us. So we have another Night's Whisper. We'd like to get a little more... Ugh. There's that Battle Sphere again. So I think we're still on defense and we're actually trading this time. And if they click us again... Ooh. Snapcaster Mage. A? That one's getting mana drained. Since Snapcaster Recall is a very real thing. And if they force it through, then we just fire both of their creatures and force them to restart with no pressure. And if it does work, then we just block top and Yawgmoth's Will for a zillion. So with 2 left, what could he be considering? Flusterstorm, okay. So we have 2 missteps that we could try and top to, or we could just fire his creatures. So fire his stuff. He can recall, and that's fine. So I assume he's going to start looking for ways to find, like, just for a young Pyromancer, and like I assume you play like Pyromancer, Fast Bond, Gush in this deck. Our opponent goes bottom, top, top, bottom, probably drawing the Preordain, and splits them again. So we can only really hope that our opponent does not have Fast Bond here. So our opponent has basically drawn an entirely new hand with Gush. So, what can we do? We can Vamp for Lotus, tinker away our, like, flip top, get it. So Vamp for Lotus, draw it here, one. Yeah, I don't think we can really give him credit for, I mean, he almost certainly has a Force of Will, which is unfortunate, because it means our tinker isn't going to be very good. I think we just have to be patient here. I think we just play Spell Bomb. So he forces this, which is sweet. And then we draw. And I think we want to Vamp for Lotus on end step, so we are done here with the ability to Vamp for Force and protect our Strix. So you could just like rattle off a chain of cantrips Gush is probably the best thing he can do here. Is this worth a Force of Will? Is this worth a Vamp and a Force of Will? I think it might be. I can see losing to it. I can't entirely see beating it. So if we draw here, we're drawing two missteps and 3 forces. Seems better than anything else that we could do. It was like really bad for us. Okay, we draw a Mox Emerald. Pyromancer is in play. They have 2 cards. I hope one of them is a land. It is. One of them's a land. I really hope the other one is not a Gush. Yeah, he had 3 Volcanics in play at some point. Get out of here. So fires the elemental token. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana, 4 here. Our lands are 3 seas and 2 Volks, so we have a sea left. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 with Tarn. Yawgmoth's Will is 3, so we've got 5 left. So it's like Strix Recall. Hope that we draw the Academy. That was a good set of cards to draw. So we've got 5 potential mana. Tinker Time Walk isn't bad. Brainstorm also not bad. I just don't think that... I mean, Brainstorm lets us tinker this into play. Not a good set of things. Okay, so we can play Welder off of Ruby, Time Walk, and with our other land, play the other Welder? No, we don't have the red mana for that. Our last land is a black source. Okay. So this top isn't going to do much, and neither is this Night's Whisper. What are we going to vamp for? It's either vamp or mystical. We could vamp for Jace. Okay, I like vamping for Jace. Then we untap and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana. We have Dak plus Jace plus 2 more mana. We're welding in Battle Sphere. And Jacing his Trigon. Okay. Taking up, targeting ourselves. Discarding Battle Sphere, Night's Whisper. Welding out Emerald for Battle Sphere. Return Trigon. We probably should have pondered before all of this. Don't want any of those. We would like to shuffle. Oh, that Lotus could have done a lot for us, I think. I'm not even really sure. Okay. So they're basically on Bolt or Die. Bolt it is. Come on, hit our Jace. Okay. Well, I'm not really sure how we could have played around that. We could have Mysticaled instead of Vamped, and then we would have had to get Pyroblast. Mystical for Pyroblast instead of getting Jace would have played around Bolt. Okay, so that's how we messed up. I can accept it. Meanwhile, we're just boarding in all of the stuff that kills all of their stuff, since they're a stupid creature deck, so, you know, get some. And not a huge fan of Dak Faden. Not a huge fan of Mindslaver when, like, all their stuff does is attack and make tokens. Mirror Battle Sphere, obviously the nut. Would like to weld that in and out forever. Misstep was, like, surprisingly bad. I don't think I want 3. And Drain probably pretty... I mean, they're playing a Gush deck. I don't know. I think we just want, like, more stuff that deals with their creatures and they can mess around with cards all they want. Oh. Yeah, this, for sure. Huh? Yeah. Yeah, all right. That's what I'm talking about. Just some good old-fashioned vintage. A solid vintaging. Well, that game was worth every bit as much as the first game. That's vintage. Sometimes you open a hand filled with 2 Moxes, Soul Ring, Strip Mine, Tinker, and there's not a whole lot that they can do about it, unless they have Force, which they didn't. Really, I would say that it's just all about the skill, but it's not. It's not at all about the skill. I mean, it's sort of about the skill. That didn't require a ton of skill to play well. So even though, like, Fetch Land Brainstorm is important, I think that keeping pressure off is also really important. And so I'm committed to staying alive as long as possible until we draw something to do with our Lotus. Force pitching preordained. Jeez, that is all of their action, huh? So they flip Delver on Ponder. We're going to play Underground Sea and use it to brainstorm. So if we brainstorm into a red card, then we've got that going for us. I'm really happy that Ponder is restricted, by the way. I don't really have too many thoughts about the Vintage restricted list yet, but like Brainstorm and Ponder being restricted are both, I think, very healthy things for the format. So like the worst thing that happens here is that we scroll for recall and recall off of our Lotus. The best thing that happens is this. I don't even know like what to do here, but wow, is this going to be good? Make some blue mana. Tap this. Target ourselves with recall. And Pyroclasm. Sweet. Well, at the end of that turn, we both had the same number of cards in hand, except I had 4 permanents in play. So I would say that things are going alright for us, especially since we know that they don't have a Force Will or a Misstep because they would have used it on our recall. So they preordain and go top. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Huh. I think I would rather just not get Steel Sabotaged. I think that's what I feel like doing today. Not getting Steel Sabotaged. Also, not getting Ancestral Recalled. I mean, he has like a counter, but it's pretty obvious, like, if you go top, play a land, go, that you're looking to recall at some point. I'm just not sure why he didn't do it, like, while we were tapped out. Unless he has Fluster Storm, which is why, like, I think very highly that our opponent has a way to protect this recall? Oh, they have Pyroblast. Jeez. Well, that is. Force Wheel pitching Spell Pierce. Perfect. Gush into Force. Okay. So now, like, they could play Pyromancer and pass. Nothing. No Pyromancers here. Not in our house. Not Steel Sabotage. No Steel Sabotages. Please do not have Steel Sabotage. Oh, another Force of Will. Pitching another Spell Pierce. Cool. Well, our opponent has churned through all of their stuff. And we have a way to kill their creatures. And at some point, we will start chaining Night's Whispers and bury our opponent. Play another creature. Ah. You have to click on yourself to... That is super unintuitive. I do not like the way that they have designed the interface for Toxic Deluge. Whatever. So our opponent gushes again. I have no idea how many lands they have in their hand, but I would assume it's several. They don't have Young Pyromancer because they're casting Preordain when they had blue-red floating. So we have been largely successful in denying them threats. They're also, it looks like, close to out of Preordains. 1, 2, 3. Their Brainstorm and their Ponder are gone as well. Their Recall's gone. And they're like many turns away from Snapcastering. I don't know. This seems fine. So they split top bottom. Time looks pretty good. Snapcaster Recall or Snapcaster Time Walk would be very punishing for us, in the sense that it would be very hard for us to win. Trigon also not great for us. Yeah. Night's Whisper. Drawing into Baleful Strix. With the ability to weld in Mirror Battlesphere. Okay, well, that's Night's Whisper for you, folks. It is a really good card. It's super cool, and you should like it. So they Pirate Blast, they clear our board out, they eat our Soul Ring. And we're still drawing to Yawgmoth's Will at literally any point ever. This is not the most impressive display of drawing spells that I've ever seen. But we still have time. Come on, deck. So they aren't drawing a spell. So now I think we want to ice this. Since, like, the way we are going to win the game is by drawing Yawgmoth's Will. Well, now we're just dead. Snapcaster Time Walk is the game. I mean, they still have to, like, hit a spell, but we're out the lands that we have in play, and we can't deluge. Deluge? Deluge? I'm gonna learn how to pronounce that word someday. But yeah, like, if they hit a spell, they win. If they don't, then we get another draw step. Fluster Storm Nuts game. Okay. That is Rug Delver for you. Vintage Rug Delver. I'll be right back.